Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in once again. This is Scorpio Cesar from the Scorpio Cesar Arcade, and once again it's time for us to do another video, another episode of rebuilding the game wall. And as you can see behind me, this game shelf is now fully stacked, but there are so many games I picked up within the past year that I have to go over them. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode, and let's see if I spent less than $100 on this one. So I'm going to start off with a weird one right off the bat. Dr. Muto for the original Xbox. Paid $10.59 for this one. I remember not a lot of people talk about this one. This is one of those obscure platformers, by the way. Continuing the trend of platformers from the last episode. Anyways, couldn't fit it into that one. Had to put it in this one. Dr. Muto for the original Xbox. Now, this game is very weird. It's got this doctor, he's a mad scientist, and he's able to transform himself into a bunch of different, like, beast hybrid creatures. I've only played so much of it, but from what I could play, it's definitely unique in a way, but the 6th generation was, like, platform alley. Like, there were so many platforms at the time that so many got lost in the shuffle. Me personally, I remember seeing this one in like GameStop magazines, you know, the holiday flyers. They would have those magazines where you would go through them, and they had pictures of so many games and stuff you couldn't afford at the time. I couldn't afford them, but I never really paid any mind to it. Like I said, back then I was too interested in more mature titles at the time. I thank Halo for that, and Dead or Alive 3. But anyways, Dr. Muto, from what I played, not too bad. I'm looking forward to actually diving into this one day, and who knows, maybe talking about it again in the near future. Next up, I have a couple of the same game here on different platforms, and it's Primal Rage on the Super Nintendo, complete in box, as well as the Game Boy version. I had no idea that they actually released the Game Boy version, and from what I played, it's pretty competent given its Game Boy port of a arcade game. The Super Nintendo port, however, as you can see here, this one's being emulated from my modded SNES Classic. It hasn't aged that well, but there's a reason why I decided to cover these on today's episode, is because I had a video in the plans to cover the Primal Rage series, because it's a series that I hold very near and dear to my heart. So if you guys are interested in seeing that, definitely let me know. I also have a lot of the figures, by the way, that I have covered on my main channel, and I'll leave a link to that video in the upper left hand side of your screen for the video title. You know what it is. Paid $33.82 for this Super Nintendo version, and only $8.11 for the Game Boy version. Now, I would really like to hunt down the original PlayStation version of the game, because I heard that was probably like the closest thing you could get to an arcade perfect port. But, you know, granted, I have it in the Midway Arcade Treasures Classics Volume 2 anyways on the GameCube and Xbox, so if I want to play an arcade version of it, I'll just use those. Next up, we have another platformer. Continuing on with platformers. Didn't you get enough from the last episode when it comes to platformers? Here we have Shadow the Hedgehog on the Nintendo GameCube. I get it. A lot of people hate this game. A lot of people said that this was the beginning of the downfall for Sonic the Hedgehog. I never played it at the time, and I'll be honest with you guys, it ain't that bad, alright? Calm down. Sure, it's trying to be very edgy and all that, but come on, consider the main character. It's Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow is badass, and he's cool. I don't care what anybody says. If you played Shadow the Hedgehog and you liked it, let me know in the comment section below, and if you didn't like it, hell, let me know anyways. I'm very interested in knowing your take on Shadow the Hedgehog all these years later. Like I said before, I never played it in the past. Always skipped it because I heard it was horrible, and I decided to hunt it down on the GameCube. And I paid $27.56 complete in its box. And next up, I paid $14.72 for this one. Oh boy. We just took the Shadow the Hedgehog, right? Well, the next game is Sonic 06 for the PlayStation 3. Now, me personally, I would have preferred to just get the Xbox 360 version again, since that's the one I originally had and had my save file on. Plus, the load times on that one were a lot better, apparently. But the PS3 version, for some odd reason, is the cheaper one to get these days. And, well, it came complete in its case. and it looked in really good condition. So I figured, you know what, let me just deal with the extra long loading times that are already long in the first place and try playing through it again. Now, people are probably wondering, why the hell would you subject yourself to this garbage? Now, granted, let's stop the presses here for a minute, back up a minute. Not everybody's experience with a certain game is going to be the same, right? I'll be honest with you guys, I never grew up with a Sega console. Never did. And this was my very first Sonic the Hedgehog game. I never owned any of the classics, none of the adventure games until much later. This was my first Sonic the Hedgehog game that I got it for Christmas that year it came out for the 360. And I don't know, I guess I just have really low standards. I enjoyed it for the time, but there was this one damn level in it that I could never finish. And that was the one where he's carrying Elise, I think it was, and he's like, "We're getting out of the cave!" And never did get out of that cave. But anyways, Sonic 06. Yes, like I know. It's so bad, but I love it. Okay? Shut up. And last but not least, I have two games of a movie series, of a franchise that I hold really deep and close to my heart, and that is Rocky on the Xbox, and apparently there was a Game Boy Advance edition as well. Had no idea until just now. But I remember playing the original Xbox version back when it first released with my brother-in-law, and we had an absolute blast with it. I've been playing it again recently, and it's definitely something I have big plans for this channel. I definitely want to cover all the Rocky games that were released from the 6th generation onward up until the new Creed Champions game comes out on Nintendo Switch in September. Really looking forward to that, and I have a video series planned for them, so be on the lookout for that. I'm really excited for how I'm going to tackle this game because, yeah, I love Rocky. I love the characters. I love the movies to death. Yeah, I had Rocky Legends for the longest time. This is one of the ones that survived the fire in 2017, and I always wanted to cover it on the channel. Here's a picture of back on Instagram that I posted years ago at this point, and I never got around to covering it on my original game channel, but that's gonna change this year. So I paid only $12.39 for this edition and $9.28 for the Game Boy Advance edition. Now, they're two completely different games, but you know, everything in the 6th generation had to get a Game Boy Advance port, and this is a very interesting one that I look forward to covering as well. So anyways, that's it for today's episode. Really had a little bit of platformers, some boxing games, as well as Primal Rage. So the grand total of everything on today's episode was $116.47. Now, all things considered, I think I did pretty well for myself. I mean, I have a Super Nintendo boxed game here, and it's pretty cool to actually have it. Should probably get a Super Nintendo again at some point, right? But unfortunately, the fire situation, and you already know about that story. I need to go about that. But anyways, yeah, a lot of these games are also multi-platform, so you might have better luck picking them up on other platforms, and they may be cheaper on those other platforms as well. So anyways, thank you all for tuning in to episode 4 on rebuilding the game wall. I hope this episode was enjoyable to you guys and gals, and you found something that you grew up playing. And if you did, let me know in the comment section below your experience with said game. Really interested in hearing it. So anyways, I'm going to leave you with this. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you all very soon.